The first winging it that I can remember was when I was in the 10th grade and I was taking European history over across the street from Burbank High School at the Adult Education Center. The teacher was Mr. Holmes, and he was passionate about the way he taught. He was colorful. He would act things out. For example, talking about the French Revolution, he would quote whoever was in charge then, "Après moi le déluge." I probably got that wrong because I didn't study well. But he was passionate, and I enjoyed watching him, but I didn't read any of the textbook or anything like that because I had a reading problem. And everything was fine until one Sunday. I was getting my stuff together and I opened up the notes that I took in class. I always took notes, but I never read them. I just wanted to see something about what was happening the next day. And I learned, my stomach dropped when I realized that there was a term paper due. It would be my first term paper in high school, and I was in trouble. So I looked at the little slip of paper. He had given everybody their own assignment typed out, and mine was to write about the French Revolution. Of course, I didn't know much more about it except "Après moi le déluge," which might very well have been then, it might not have been. But so I was really in big trouble because I didn't have a paper ready. We had a typewriter, and so that was really helpful. I'll explain that. But basically, I needed to get some information about the French Revolution, and it was too late on a Sunday night to go to a library. And the only things we had in the house was a Funk and Wagnall's encyclopedia where you went to the store, and if you bought so much, you got another edition of it and another volume. And we had it up to the letter G, I believe. So fortunately, I opened that up, and there was, since F was in there, I was able to take some information about the French Revolution there. Then I took the textbook and looked through that at the French Revolution, and I thought, all right, I just need to use these two and write it in such a way that I'm not copying the technical jargon that they would do in the encyclopedias and in the textbook. So I came up with the thing I called de-writing, meaning that I would write it the way a kid would say it. Ironically, this style would turn into my writing style as an adult, writing the way people read. But anyway, so I put the thing together, and I thought, cool, I typed it up. I didn't type it on anything that I could pad it like sometimes we would do, but I typed it neatly on the typewriter, and it wasn't fat, but it was done neatly. Then I looked back before I finished it at the assignment, and it said that I had to have a what do you call it? I'm in the middle of this on a short battery. Had to have a bibliography of 12 books. Well, I couldn't get a bibliography of 12 books at that hour, so I made up all of the titles of 12 books except for the Funk and Wagnall's encyclopedia and the textbook. So I didn't want to make it sound stupid like Joe Smith and Henry Johnson and stuff like that. So I made creative things like a book with a good title, but the author was Louise Fletcher, or something like like B. Norman Harrison, and all the different kinds of forms of things. And I would have women in there, and I have people, Asians and stuff, in the thing. And I decided I wanted to have one book in there with a name that would be a classic sounding author, and it was Backgrounds of the French Revolution by Stuart Hunter. I always liked the name Stuart Hunter, so I put him in there. So I turned it in, and what's ironic about the whole thing is that when the papers came back, I got the second highest grade in the class. All I wanted to do was pass. And when I looked at it, what was amazing was that there were only 2 comments in the whole thing. One of them, he wrote, tends to follow, the information tends to follow the style of the textbook. But yeah, no shit, of course it did. And the other one was when I went to the bibliography, I learned something very important. I learned that teachers cheat as well, and I would use that knowledge forever. Why? Because the comment in the bibliography was good choice of books. So that's where Stuart Hunter was born. And in another episode, I'll tell you about how Stuart Hunter saved my tail, and maybe another one after that. But because of that, I learned to do what I call de-writing. I would write things the way a kid would write it, make a few obvious mistakes, and but I just all the rules of writing for the ear, of using active voice, not using a lot of dependent clauses, and not using big words, and it really worked for me. So that was a winging it that would start a whole series of really interesting things in high school. Tell you more later.